Before you drag the trash can to the curb tonight, open the bag and pull one thing out. Because inside American homes right now, in junk drawers, dead laptops, and kitchen bins, are metals scrap yards pay serious money for. A stripped copper wire the diameter of your thumb is worth more per pound than the chicken breast you cooked for dinner. A single trash bag of crushed aluminum cans could fuel your car for 20 miles. And one household item you probably replace every 2 years contains a hidden component worth over $100. We are talking about the global scrap metal market, a $90 billion industry that runs on what you and your neighbors set on the curb every week. And right now, with copper prices at near record highs and e-waste recycling expanding faster than it ever has, your trash can has become an income stream you never turned on. The only question is what you are throwing away and why nobody told you to stop. Every year, American households throw away enough copper to wire 40,000 new homes. Not because they don't want it, because they don't know it has a cash price that changes by the hour on the London Metal Exchange. The same exchange where traders buy futures for the metal sitting in your attic as an old extension cord. Right now, bare, bright copper wire fetches over $5 a pound. That old computer power cord you almost tossed contains about a quarter pound of copper. Over $1 in pure metal. And you were about to pay the city to take it away. Aluminum is less precious, but it adds up fast. A single can is 2 cents. The average household tosses 600 cans a year, $12. 120 million households doing that means $1.4 billion in aluminum hitting landfills or recycling bins annually, and almost none of it lands in your wallet. Scrap yards will pay you directly because they sell ingots to smelters who turn your soda cans into engine blocks and window frames. The only missing link is you walking through the gate. Last year, the world discarded 50 million metric tons of e-waste. Less than 20% was recycled. The rest, landfilled, burned, or dumped overseas. Inside every discarded device is gold, silver, palladium. 1 ton of old mobile phones contains around 300 grams of gold. To get that from a mine, you'd need to process 60 tons of rock. Your junk drawer is richer than a mine. And yet, you've never been paid a cent for it. Because the recycling laws passed over the last 2 decades were written to collect fees from you at the store, then funnel the material to certified recyclers who sell it on the global market. You remain an unpaid supplier. But that stops now. I'll show you exactly which items to pull, how to separate them, and where to get cash, starting with the component you replace every 2 years that scrapyards fight over. All you need is one number, and I'll give it to you right after this. 10 grams. That is how much platinum, palladium, and rhodium is packed inside a single original catalytic converter. The exhaust component your car can't legally run without. When your vehicle hit 80,000 miles and the check engine light came on, the shop charged you $1,200 to replace it. That same worn-out converter, sold directly to a scrapyard before it leaves your driveway, can put $150 back in your pocket. Certain models, Prius, Ford F-250, Honda Element, scrapyards fight over. They broadcast serial numbers on online boards, offering $800 or more for a converter that still contains the original precious metal washcoat. The same converter a thief would cut out in 2 minutes with a battery-operated saw, you can unbolt legally from your own junk car and trade for cash. And if you think this only applies to vehicles, you are missing the bigger pile of money sitting under your kitchen sink. Copper wire is the quiet monster of household scrap. That orange extension cord coiled behind the dryer, the old cable box power cord, even the dead Christmas lights you stuffed in the closet all contain bare, bright copper wire, the highest paying grade. Strip off the insulation and scrapyards pay $5.65 a pound. A single microwave power cord holds about a quarter pound. Over $1.40 just for the wire inside a cord you are about to toss into the garbage. Some part-timers strip wire in their garage every weekend and bring coffee cans full of bright copper to the yard. Do that for a month and you will clear $100 without leaving your property for more than an hour. Aluminum is lighter, but it accumulates like compound interest. Soda cans are the lowest value item on this list, and they still add up. One can is 2 cents. One trash bag holds roughly 200 cans, $4 right there. But the real aluminum score is something you only throw away during a renovation or a move. Aluminum window frames, gutters, screen doors. Old lawn chairs. A single aluminum storm window frame can weigh 5 to 8 pounds. At 65 cents a pound, that's $5. An entire set of gutters from a ranch house can bring $60. And 80% of homeowners pay a contractor to haul them away. But here is the pivot most people never make, because the electronics industry built a system that hides it from you. Every time you buy a new laptop, a smartphone, a gaming console, part of the price you pay is an environmental handling fee. That fee funds the certified recyclers who dismantle the devices, extract the gold and palladium, and sell the precious metals on the global market. You paid the fee. They collect the treasure. If you instead took that dead laptop directly to an e-waste scrap buyer, you would get paid. 1 ton of old printed circuit boards contains around 300 grams of gold, worth over $18,000 at today's spot price. One outdated smartphone, the kind you have 2 of in a drawer, holds about 30 cents worth of gold, 50 cents worth of silver. That does not sound like much until you realize over 100 million of those phones are still sitting in American homes. The scrapyards know the math. Now you do too. The domestic e-waste market was valued at $26.5 billion in 2025, projected to reach $45 billion by 2032. That growth is not coming from corporate server farms. It is coming from the boxes of dead routers, DVD players, and inkjet printers that families stack in garages and never touch again. Part-time scrappers who learn to process this material are pulling in $1,000 to $2,000 a month. Their only investment is a plastic tub, a pair of wire cutters, and a list of which items contain the precious metals. But there is a trick the scrapyards rely on you never learning. They count on you showing up with a mixed bin of half-dirty metal, coated wire, and plastic still attached. When you do that, you get the lowest grade price, 30% less than what the material is worth. The difference between a $20 trip and a $70 trip is 10 minutes of sorting at home. I will show you exactly how to separate what each grade pays and the one item that even smart scrappers overlook, the thing in your kitchen that contains a non-stick coating worth more than the pan itself. That comes next. That Teflon skillet you threw out last month because the non-stick coating started flaking. The coating was never worth a penny. The aluminum pan underneath that coating, the part you thought was ruined, is worth $4 at any scrapyard in the country. Non-stick pans are almost always made from cast aluminum, a grade that pays about 60 cents a pound. A 12-inch skillet weighs 4 pounds. Do the math. And so many people toss them into the garbage that scrapyards see exactly one for every 50 households a year. It is the easiest money you have ever sent to a landfill. Now walk into your kitchen and open the cabinet under the sink. If you see brass, an old faucet, a bag of pipe fittings left by the previous owner, you are staring at the second highest paying common metal in the world. Yellow brass fetches $2.80 a pound right now. Even dirty brass with a little solder still lands above $2. One brass kitchen faucet weighs 3 pounds. That is $8 for a fixture you replaced because it dripped. And then there are the items already mounted in your home that you do not even register as metal anymore. Doorknobs, hinges, drawer pulls. Older homes are loaded with solid brass hardware. When you swap those out for brushed nickel, do not toss the originals into a contractor bag. A full set of 10 interior doorknobs can bring $45 from a scrapyard. The same contractor you paid to install the new ones will pocket that cash if you let him haul the debris away. But here's where the numbers start getting uncomfortable. Because the scrapyard is a business, not a charity. And they have built their entire pricing model on one assumption, that you do not know the difference between a clean load and a dirty one. Bring them a bucket full of unseparated mixed metal, copper wire still wrapped in insulation, aluminum cans with plastic lids, and they will pay you the lowest possible grade. They call it shredder feed or unprepared. And that one label cuts your payout by 40% instantly. $30 becomes $18. $100 becomes $60. The difference between a part-time scrapper making $2,000 a month and the same person making $1,200 is not how much they collect. It is whether they sort at home before they drive to the gate. The sorting system takes 10 minutes once you know it. Ferrous metals, anything a magnet sticks to, go in one pile. Steel prices are low, $40 to $60 a ton. That is not where the money lives. Non-ferrous metals go in separate containers. Copper by itself. Brass by itself. Aluminum by itself. Stainless steel in another. And the premium comes from cleaning each piece. Strip the insulation off copper wire. Remove screws and rubber gaskets. Knock the plaster out of a brass light fixture. Every minute you spend at home is $1 the yard would have taken from you at the scale. This is not complicated. It is just information nobody gave you. And that information gap is not an accident. The global scrap trade depends on millions of people remaining unpaid suppliers. Think about the last time a municipality launched a curbside recycling campaign. They told you to save the planet. They did not tell you the aluminum can you just placed in the blue bin was worth 2 cents, and the recycling processor contracted by the city collects that 2 cents from every can in the entire route. The processor made money. The city paid a contract. You received nothing but the feeling of doing your part. If you separate your own aluminum and deliver it yourself, you become the processor. The only thing that changes is who gets the check. Now pull open the drawer where you keep your dead electronics. The smartphone, the old digital camera, the laptop that died 4 years ago. Collectively, those 3 items contain about $1.60 of gold, $2 of silver, and a few cents of palladium. That does not sound like a retirement plan until you understand what happens at scale. There are certified e-waste buyers in every major city that will purchase circuit boards by the pound. Motherboards, the main green board inside every computer, pay $3 to $5 per pound. Hard drive boards pay $8 to $12 per pound. The old laptop you cannot even turn on anymore contains a motherboard worth about $1 in gold recovery. You just need to know where to weigh it in, and I will give you that list. These next steps are what separate the people who watch a video about scrap money and the people who start bringing cash home next weekend. Because knowing what it is worth is useless unless you know exactly where to sell it, what identification the yard requires, and the one thing you must never say when you walk through the gate. That is next. Here is your first step. Open your phone right now and type "scrap metal yard near me" into a map. Not a recycling center, not a municipal dump, a scrap metal buyer that weighs your material on an industrial scale and pays cash at the window. Most cities have at least 3. Call them before you load the car. Ask for today's price on bare, bright copper, clean aluminum, and yellow brass. Do not ask what they pay for a bucket of random metal. The moment you use the word bucket, they know you did not separate a thing, and they will quote you shredder price without looking at the load. Walk in with specific grades and they will assume you know what you are doing. They might still test you, but they will start from a higher number. When you arrive, bring a driver's license. Every legit yard requires identification. They log your name and vehicle plate, not because you're doing anything wrong. It is state law meant to track stolen metal. If you are scrapping a catalytic converter off your own car, bring the repair receipt or the vehicle title. Without it, many yards will refuse the transaction. For household copper, brass, aluminum, and circuit boards, your ID is all you need. Park at the inbound scale, Wait for the weighmaster to flag you forward, and do not get out of the vehicle until the scale stops moving. The first weight is your vehicle full. They will direct you to the drop zone. After you unload, pull back onto the scale for the empty weight. The difference is what you get paid on. The one thing you never say inside the gate is any version of "I have never done this before." Do not ask the yard worker to help you sort. Do not explain that you found the metal in the garage and did not know if it was worth anything. That sentence costs you 30% on the spot. Scrap yards are friendly places, but they are also negotiation floors. The price they post on the sign is for prepared material. If they see you are unsure, they will grade your copper as number 2 instead of number 1. That $5.65 a pound becomes $4.20. On a 10-pound bucket of wire, you lose $14. That is the tax on inexperience, and you can avoid it with 3 words: "I sell prepared." That phrase alone tells the yard you sorted at home, you stripped the insulation, you pulled the brass off the steel, and you will walk next door if their number is low. Now the item most people never think about, the one sitting in a box in the hallway closet. Old keys. Solid brass keys from a previous house. Padlock keys. The ring of random cut keys you never use. Brass is $2.80 a pound. A single key weighs almost nothing, but a collection of 50 keys gathered over a decade of homeownership weighs nearly 2 pounds. That is $5 for something that literally opens nothing anymore. Door hardware, drawer pulls, the brass kickplate at the bottom of your front door, all of it is cash waiting for a trip to the yard. And here is the final detail that makes this entire system run. When you sell scrap metal in the United States, you do not pay sales tax. You are not a retailer. The yard writes you a receipt, and the transaction is between you and a private buyer. Most yards pay in cash under a certain threshold, which varies by state. Over that threshold, they issue a check. Either way, the money is yours. No forms, no reporting unless you are doing this commercially. The $90 billion scrap industry is built on the assumption that you will never walk through the gate to claim your cut. Now you know the gate is open. And if you want the full list of every household item worth pulling, with today's prices and the exact grades to ask for, I put it somewhere easy to find. Stay right there. That list is in the first pinned comment right now. Every item we covered, current scrap prices updated weekly, and the exact yard lingo that gets you the premium rate. Print it. Put it on the fridge. Because once you start seeing your trash as inventory, you will never unsee it. The amount of money American households sent to landfills last year in the form of recyclable metal was not a mistake. It was a design. A system built on the assumption that you would never learn what your own discards are worth. You just learned. And the gate is open every weekday morning when the scale powers on. If this video made sense to you, then there is a resource I think you're going to want. It is the complete guide to turning household waste into steady cash, and it is available through the link in the first pinned comment. No guesswork, no trial runs, just the playbook. Hit subscribe if you want to know what else they never told you. I will see you in the next one.